Chapter 6. The six elements shall burn in the fire. On the sixth day, God created Adam and Eve. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female. Genesis 1:27. And from the seed of Adam and Eve, the fruit of the womb has spread through the earth. Genesis 1:26. For man was created in the image of God, but due to man's fall he is dust of the earth. Because from it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Genesis 3:19. And the dust of the earth shall burn like ember in the fire. For the French word for ember is charbon, which in Latin is translated to carbol, and the element of carbon has the atomic number 6, and the Greek letter for 6 is stigma. Thus, carbon is a stigma of man's fall from God's grace. Carbon is an essential element of the earth, for the life cycle of the earth is bound by this element. For even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under these elements. Galatians 4:3. And the element of carbon is diverse, for all organic compounds are formed by its structure. For carbon can be formed into a beautiful diamond, through which the sun can brilliantly shine. And the first fruits of God are like diamonds in his hands, for their whole body is full of light with no dark part in it. They will be wholly illumined as when the lamp illumines you with its rays. Luke 11:36. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Yet carbon can be degraded into oil, which is dark as the night and burns fervently in the fire. And the sons of perdition are as dark as their ruler, for they have refused to follow the light. And this is the judgment, that the light has come into this world, and men love the darkness rather than the light, for their deeds were evil. For everyone who does evil hates the light, and does not come to the light for fear that his deeds will be exposed. John 3:19. But the Lord comes, who will bring both light to the things hidden in darkness, and disclose the motives of men's hearts. 1 Corinthians 4:5. And the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens will pass away with a great noise, and the elements will melt with fervent heat. Both the earth and the works that are in it will be burned up. 2 Peter 3:10. And the recycling of carbon is through the carbon cycle. And the most common compound in the atmosphere is carbon dioxide. It is converted by plants through photosynthesis into carbohydrate. And carbohydrate is consumed by animals and by man, and through the process of cellular respiration is converted back to CO2 and water. Thus, the overall pathway of the carbon cycle is: thus, when these two pathways are combined, and the derivative of photosynthesis is made by the sun. And as we know, the Son of God gives us light, and the Spirit gives us breath to bear fruits, and the Father sustains us with the water of life. Thus the overall pathway from photosynthesis becomes. And the derivative of respiration is to breathe, for the Spirit gives us the breath of life. Thus, the overall pathway for cellular respiration becomes. And when these two pathways are combined, for just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even so the Son also gives life to whom he wishes. John 5:21. But when man is buried in the ground, his flesh is degraded into oil, and oil burns fervently in the fire. For the pathway of the combustion of oil is, and the derivative of combustion is to burn in the fire. For the chaff of mankind is like oil, and their bodies shall burn in the fire. Thus the overall pathway of God's judgment becomes. Therefore, thus says the Lord, Behold, my anger and my wrath will be poured out on this place, on man and on beast, and on the trees of the field, and on the fruit of the ground, and it will burn and not be quenched. Jeremiah 7:20. For dust is the carbon of this earth, and the flesh has the stigma of 6. For as God created the world in 6 days, He commanded His people to work in 6 days. Exodus 20:11. And He commanded them to gather the wheat in 6 days. Exodus 16:26. And for 6 years His people would yield from the land. Exodus 23:10. And for 6 years the servants and livestock would labor. Exodus 23:12. But after 6 years the servants were freed. Exodus 21:2. And after 6 years all men shall be free. Daniel 12. And the tabernacle was built in 6 parts, to prepare for the Lamb that would come. For the lampstand of the tabernacle was made of 6 branches. Exodus 25:32. And the wall of the tabernacle was held by 6 boards. Exodus 26:22. And the ephod of the priests held a pair of 6 stones. Exodus 28:10. And the table of the showbread held a pair of 6 loaves. Leviticus 24:6. And the temple of God was constructed in 6, to prepare for the king that would come. And the walls of the temple were closed for 6 days. Ezekiel 46:1. And there were 6 stairs that led to the temple. 1 Kings 10:19. And on the 6 stairs that led to the throne were 6 lions that guarded each side. 2 Chronicles 9:19. For the pair of 6 lions that guarded the throne are the pair of 6 apostles that will guard the new city. She had a great and high wall with 12 gates, and 12 angels at the gates, and names written on them, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. 3 gates on the east, 3 gates on the north, 3 gates on the south, and 3 gates on the west. Now the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and on them were the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. Revelation 21:12. And God taught His people to wait patiently in 6. For He shall deliver you in 6 troubles. Yes, in 7 no evil shall touch you. Job 5:19. For His servant would wait on Mount Sinai for 6 days, before the Lord answered his prayers. Exodus 24:16. And His people would march around Jericho 6 days, before its stone walls would fall down. Joshua 6:3. And His apostles would wait for 6 days on the mountain before the angels appeared. Mark 9:2. And the 6 days of waiting for the Sabbath was abolished, for the Son walked on earth that all men could be free. Luke 13:4. For His servants no longer eat unleavened bread, but now eat the leaven of the Spirit. Deuteronomy 16:8. But woe to those who forsake Him, for the 6th seal shall be opened, and the 6th bowl shall be poured. For on January 3rd of 2010, the 6th seal shall be opened, and New York City shall quake, and the stars of Wall Street shall fall from the heavens. Then the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the commanders, and the rich, and the strong, and every slave and free man hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. And they said to the mountains and to the rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the presence of Him who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath is come, and who is able to stand? Revelation 6:12.